know, I know it's the thing on YouTube to be riding a one wheel, but who can ride an adult tricycle and do it with style? Although I don't really know how much style I have right now. So where am I? I am in Florida right now on a little vacay with my wife's family, kind of in a geriatric vacation hub. Maybe I'll retire here one day. Not a chance. I want to talk today about documentary filmmaking. I guess we should define what a documentary is right off the top. What it is a film that focuses on anything that's non-fiction. So real events. And I did some research, and the term documentary was actually coined in 1926 by filmmaker John Grierson. Been around for a while. And I love documentaries. I love telling stories about real people, real events, because I just find it really fascinating to look into people's lives, why they do certain things and how certain events unfold. And you know, there isn't just one type of documentary. There's many, and it's actually really good to know these different types of genres because each one of them has a strength and a benefit that could help your story. So today, let's talk about documentary styles. And I should mention that this film is going to be part of a long series of documentary YouTube tutorials that I'm making. I know a lot of you, when I did that poll recently, said you wanted to know more about documentary filmmaking. So I thought this video was a great place to start talking about the different genres of documentary so that if I reference them in upcoming videos, you'll know what I'm talking about. So let's do this. Brakes don't work so well on this. It is very hot out here, so I'm going to change. Okay, where was I? Besides sweating my balls off. So the first documentary style I want to talk about is verite, and this is a classic style of documentary. Verite means truthful cinema. It's essentially where you let everything unfold in front of your camera as a filmmaker, and you don't try to change the story. You just let life happen and you observe it. And there's some amazing films like this. This is an incredible tool as a filmmaker to immerse your audience in a setting, in a scenario, in a story. One of my favorite documentaries of all time uses a lot of verite style, and it's called The Overnighters. It's an incredible film. Looks at a pastor in this one city where there was an influx of workers in the oil fields. Looks at all the tension he has to fight as he tries to take people into his church. And it might sound boring, but man, it is an incredible film. There's a twist at the end. I don't want to give it away, but fantastic film. Really, really enjoyed it. Another incredible verite cinema filmmaker that you should check out is Alan King. Canadian, hello, rest in peace. But verite is good to use sometimes intermittent throughout your film where you just let something happen in front of the camera. Just like 2 videos ago where I was talking about letting your edit breathe. Verite is all about this. The second documentary style I wanted to talk about today was reenactment, or what you hear some people say, docudrama. And that's where you take an event that happened and you recreate it as accurately as possible. And this is a powerful tool when you don't have footage of an event. An incredible filmmaker who uses this is Errol Morris. He just did the doc series on Netflix called Wormwood. Highly suggest you watch it. It is one of the most beautiful reenactment docudramas I've ever seen. And I think docudramas get a bad rep because there's terrible TV docudramas where they reenact like a plane crash and all this stuff, and they use the fuzzy filter and black and white footage, and it's just terrible. But I think docudramas actually have a good place in documentary filmmaking, and sometimes you could use a mini docudrama sequence in the middle of your film if you don't have the footage of an event. There's nothing to be ashamed about recreating things, or sometimes taking someone back to a place and having them show what happened. I'm totally okay with that as a filmmaker, because for me, it's about showing the audience what this person experiences. And if, hey, I don't have the footage of that, let's go redo it. Let's go recreate it. If you're an athlete, let's go back to the field. Let's see you play the sport. Let's see you recreate the setting that you've been talking about. So it's totally okay to recreate scenarios. You just got to know the genre you're doing. If you're trying to do a verite film and then suddenly you have reenactments in it and you're still calling it a verite film, it can get confusing. This is why I was saying it's good to know what genre of documentary you're making before you set out. But let's keep riding. Florida is funny because it's so dang hot out here that no one hangs outside, so everyone's indoors. So these neighborhoods are like complete ghost town. Either that or the zombie apocalypse happened. Kind of nice for riding my man trike around. Anyways, as I was talking, the next genre of documentary I wanted to talk about is talking head. And this isn't really a category, but I made it one because you see so many documentaries done in this style. It's kind of like the ESPN 30 for 30 style documentary, where you just have a lot of interviews and you have a bit of accompanying B-roll and you tell a story about a person or about a topic. And this can actually be really effective because when you have many people talking about one thing, you get a lot of perspectives, or you can reiterate one point that you're trying to make. And I think ESPN does a great job. Another great documentary that's kind of talking head style is The Corporation. Actually, if you have any documentaries that fit these styles, make sure to leave a comment below. There's so many good documentaries out there and I think they need to be seen. Next documentary style is expository or expository. Let me know if I'm pronouncing it right. These styles of documentary are kind of like the Ken Burns, if you know his work, that style documentary where you're trying to look into a situation and show, oh, geez, tried to switch hand. It was as you're trying to show an event or a place, and less about talking heads, but you usually have like a narrator and you put some footage and you do the Ken Burns effect with like the photos moving. This is your typical A&E style, History Channel style documentary where you're looking at an event. It's kind of similar to Talking Heads, but I feel like Talking Heads is just interviews and expository uses of voiceover. The next style is a performative style documentary. That's where the filmmaker is actually involved in the film. You see them trying to find out something, trying to explore a topic, and they'll often put themselves in the film. And the most famous person for this, of course, is Michael Moore. He's done Bowling for Columbine, Fahrenheit 9/11, these types of films where he's in the film and he's looking at an issue or topic. They're like expose pieces. It's where you're trying to prove something and you want to put yourself in there as a filmmaker. This is a great way for you to help bridge the gaps in your film if you're not sure how the film's going to turn out. Sorry, a little break here in the edit. I just realized I cannot talk about performative documentaries without mentioning one of the best ones of all time, in my opinion, which is Finding Vivian Maier. It is an incredible film. You need to see this. It's about this guy who found these photos in an auction, and it turns out that they're about this photographer who, okay, I can't ruin it. You need to see it. Finding Vivian Maier. I would be doing an injustice to documentary filmmaking if I didn't mention this film in this video, so go watch that. This thing is great. It's like an office on wheels. I can ride with no hands. I'm over one wheels. I'm gonna be doing my adult tricycle from now on. It's gonna be my thing on this channel. Maybe I'll put a link below to one. I'm just kidding. Actually, no, I think I will. I'll look for one on Amazon, see if it's there. The next thing I wanted to talk about was reflexive documentaries. And this doesn't mean you have good reflexes or that you're an athlete. It's about reacting to the world around you. It's not really about a story or about an event. It's about your experience and about you actually making the film. The film is about the film being made. And that's the way most, YouTubers will do their videos, their 5-10 minute videos. It's about you actually just creating the video, you getting the shots. It's about you reacting to the world. It's reflexive, you're reacting to what's happening. And the last one I wanted to talk, actually no, the second last one I wanted to talk about is my favorite, and that's impressionistic documentary filmmaking. And what that means is it's kind of like a non-traditional style of filmmaking. You'll use a narrator and you might use some verite scenes, but it's a bit more experimental. It's not full experimental, which I'll talk about in a sec, but it's a style of documentary where you're letting the voiceover and the images all create a tone and a sense of story.
I feel like I've been numb for so many years, but that night was when I felt everything, when my world became real.
And it doesn't necessarily follow the traditional rules of documentary. You're not showing talking head interviews. You're more so looking into the tone and the emotion of someone's story. And you can tell a linear story, and it is important to. I've done a video a little while ago about knowing if you have a good documentary story, and I'll put that link above right now. That's important to know where you're going with the story. But I love impressionistic style of documentary filmmaking because it allows for more art. It allows for more moments where you get to breathe and feel who the character is, do some cool lighting. I love cinematography, so that's probably why I love impressionistic style of documentary filmmaking, and it's probably why I'm talking about it the longest right now, because for me it is the most in line with who I am as an artist, who I am as a creative. I love it, and I think it's one of the most fun ways to make movies. And the last style of documentary I wanted to talk about was experimental. A person, we have a human. Ah, cool, don't move. They're like a T-Rex. If you move, they'll see you. The last style is experimental documentary, and this just follows no rules. You kind of do whatever the heck you want. Andy Warhol used to make a lot of documentaries like this, and they're fun, they're strange, they don't always make sense. It's like impressionistic on crack. It just goes way to the other end of the scale, and I think they're great and they're really fun to watch. I think over 90 minutes, like a typical documentary feature length, nah, not my thing. But in a short amount of time, I think experimental documentaries are powerful and very cool. Wowzers, it is hot out here, but if you've been watching my channel recently, I've been complaining about the cold in Canada, so I will not complain about this heat. Just to recap everything really quickly here, you have verite, which is letting everything happen in front of the camera and not really changing what's happening. You just film what happens in life. Then you have docudrama or reenactment, which is the complete opposite. You reenact everything. You control it as a documentary filmmaker. Then you have talking heads, which is a lot of interviews. You have expository, which is looking into a subject, trying to prove a point. Then you have participatory documentary, which is where you put yourself in there as a filmmaker and are trying to prove a point, talk about a certain subject. Then you have reflexive documentary, which is kind of the YouTube thing where you just make a film about making the film. Then you have my favorite one, which is impressionistic documentary. And then last but not least, it's the do whatever the heck you want to do. It is the experimental documentary. So there's so many different genres. Don't let them overwhelm you. Let them help you. Figure out what is going to help your story. Maybe it doesn't make sense for you to do a reflexive style documentary where you're in the film if you're trying to do it about a subject that you have no connection to, or that maybe you just aren't an expert on and you want experts to talk about it. That would be a great time to do a talking head style documentary where you have experts talking about the subject. So it's good to figure out what genre, and you can blend the two. You can use a bunch of different ones. If you look at, again, I was talking about earlier, Wormwood, they use docudrama style scenes where it's this incredible filmmaking, but then they also do a talking head style interview, and it's actually the first one I saw. They shot it with like 8 red cameras. It was incredible. It's beautiful, beautiful cinematography. Check it out. Even if you don't watch the whole series, it's good to see a different style of documentary filmmaking. But anyways, make sure to hit subscribe, leave some comments below. I appreciate, again, all the love you guys have had. Let me know what videos you want me to be making. I'm gonna be doing some more about documentary filmmaking. This is kind of the first part of a long series, and a lot of you have been bugging me about doing a top handle film. I will be making one of those, and I will be making one about focus. Just been flat out crazy busy, and now I'm on a little vacation. But yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one.